following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hello, everyone. This is Rob Danger with Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and I'm here with Jack DeGraw, and we're talking Yankee baseball. How you doing, Jack?
Good. How are you tonight, Robert?
Not too bad. Last week when we talked, we touched on James Paxton's injury, and then all of a sudden, Luis Severino, he's got a problem with his forearm, and some saying it might be nothing, and others, like Brian Cashman, seem awfully concerned that it might be something serious, and they're sending him to New York for 3 days of testing. What do you think about that?
Well, what I understand, his forearm, it starts to pop up when he throws changeups. And, you know, this was happening, you know, there was some concern like last year in the playoffs. Because you remember, Robert, against the Astros and even against the Twins, you know, Severino and Paxton, they were only pitching like 4 innings.
Yeah.
3 or 4 innings, and it's like, you know, what's going on here and stuff. So, from what I understand, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say that the medical staff, because you're right. I mean, the injury that Paxton's dealing with, he was dealing with at the end of last season, and the same thing with Severino. And you wonder, you know, what happened between then and now? How come this wasn't resolved before spring? You know, they arrived to spring training.
Yeah, and you know the question that I'm sure a lot of people are asking, well, why wasn't this taken care of? You know, right after the season. You know,
yeah,
given time to rest, and now you're missing 2 starters.
Yeah, because I know during the off season they sent Severino to have an MRI and a CT scan, and both came back clean, so there was no noticeable injury, but he's still suffering from soreness in his forearm. And listening to Brian Cashman talk today, I mean, you could see the worriment in his face. I mean, he was trying to be honest, saying it might not be anything serious, or it could be something that we'll have to worry about when it comes. So, I mean, we there's a good chance we might be without Severino and Paxton to start the season.
Yeah, and knowing how conservative the Yankees are, I mean, you know, it could be, you know, maybe June at the earliest when we see any of these guys. Yeah,
I mean, and last year, it reminds me of last year with Hicks when, you know, they said, you know, with his back that, he just needs a few days of rest, and it turned out to be half the season. I'm hoping in Severino's case that's not going to happen to him, because Paxton will be back by May sometime. But if Severino's having trouble with his throwing arm, that concerns me.
Yeah, because you know, I guess they're going to send him up to New York here from Tampa on Monday, and they're going to do 3 days of test, and then you know, hopefully we'll know more by you know, the end of the week. But they haven't even started the games yet, and you know, the Yankees are starting to drop like flies again.
Yeah, and as of right now, I mean, if you were to start the season without Paxton or Severino, your rotation would go Garrett Cole, Tanaka, Happ, followed by Sessa, and either Loaiza or Montgomery.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, you know, Loaiza's been hurt, and you know, Montgomery, you know, he only pitched, I think, 4 innings last year coming back from Tommy John. So usually when you come back from Tommy John, it takes a while to, you know, to get back, you know, get back in the groove. So, and, you know, Tanaka's been dealing with a possible arm injuries for the last 3 seasons. So, you know, maybe his arm trouble could, you know, pop up out of nowhere. So, I don't know. We might have Dooley Womack pitching by the beginning of the year. Who the heck knows?
And I saw a video of Montgomery pitching to Tyler Wade the other day, and Tyler Wade was taking Montgomery deep. And I know it's only spring and everyone's, working on things, but for Tyler Wade to be taking Montgomery deep, it concerns me a little. I think you might be right. I think he might need to start the season in AAA to build up his arm strength.
Yeah, because usually when guys come back, it takes half a season or even a whole season just to get back, in the groove, because everybody responds different. And now with everybody falling like flies, I think the Yankees might pull a trade, before the opening day.
Yeah, and we were talking off air, and there was an article in the Post today about Clint Frazier. And he talked about how he was disappointed that he was playing left field in Scranton and not in New York. And in the article, Boone was basically talking about how, he's a talented player. He's going to have a bright future in this game. But everything Boone was saying, it was almost as if the writing was on the wall that Frazier's not part of the Yankees' plans moving forward. So I think any deal they make this year, I think you'll definitely see Frazier moved.
Yeah, I just think, a talent like that is just going to waste away in the minor leagues. He has nothing more to prove, and they can probably get a good pitcher for him and let Frazier have a career now, because even if he's on the team, he's not going to get many at bats, and he's just wasting away in New York.
Yeah, and they said there's 4 players that are fighting for a roster spot, and that's Tyler Wade, Clinton Frazier, Mike Ford, and Estrada. And they said only 2 of the 4 are gonna make it, and Tyler Wade will make it, and probably Mike Ford. And Frazier's going on 25 years old. He's entering his prime. It would just be an injustice if the Yankees just kept holding on to him.
Yeah, because I think like a guy, Tyler Wade can play all over, and if Torreyes has trouble at short, Wade could step in and do a good job defensively. And Ford, is a good hitter. He's got a lot of power, and he's got a great eye at the plate. And Estrada, he can play. He can be in AAA, and at some point of the season, we'll see him just like last year. But Frazier, yeah. It like you said, it's just an injustice to him to, have him rot away on the bench or in AAA.
Yeah, because Estrada, he came up last year, and he played in 35 games. He batted .250. He had 16 hits, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, but he played great defense. So, he's someone that, you could bring up and fill in the infield if need be. And like you said, Tyler Wade can play everywhere in the infield and outfield.
Yeah, he's a good piece to have on your team. And, the Yankees, it's not going to be offensively. They're going to score a lot of runs.
Yeah.
But, and if the pitching can stay healthy, the pitching is good. The bullpen is outstanding, but, you have to be concerned this early in the spring. You lose 2 of your starters right off the bat. And, these injuries were popping up at the end of last season and in the playoffs. So, and obviously up to this point, rest has not helped, with the arm misery. So, going forward, it'd be interesting to see what happens.
And also, I don't know if you heard this. I heard that Mike Ford actually slimmed down a little bit coming into spring training, and that he's in great shape.
Yeah, he looks good. I was the last 3 days I went down to the Yankee practice, and I was watching him hit on a backfield. He was hitting off Holder and with a couple other Chad Green and stuff, and he looks good. He definitely lost a lot of weight, and he looks like he's ready to go.
Yeah, and another player that lost 25 to 30 pounds, they said, was Gary Sanchez. And I think Gary Sanchez losing, an extra 25, 30 pounds is going to do nothing but help him. behind the plate and at the plate.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees hired a coaching instructor for him. Whose name I can't remember it right now, and I think definitely losing weight is going to help him be more mobile. Luke Voigt also has lost a lot of weight, so he should be more mobile around first base. But hopefully Sanchez can pick up on his defense a little. He improved last year, and if he can improve his defense, he could be one of the best players in the game. He's already a very good player.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Mike Ford's stats from last year, and he played 50 games, and he hit 12 home runs, batted .260. He had an on-base percentage of 3.5. I mean, pretty impressive for a guy who hit a total of more than 30 home runs between AAA and the majors last year.
Yeah, he's just gotten better every year. I remember when he was down here in Tampa in the Single A, I think he had 5 home runs in one season. So, he's definitely, got better every year. And, I wouldn't be scared to throw him at first base for 100 games or so. I think he can do the job.
Yeah, and also, I heard that Gino Stanton, he's going to be splitting a lot of time between DH and the outfield. So I think you'll see someone like Tauchman play a lot of left field or whoever they have out there, whether it be Andujar, Tauchman, but they plan on DH and Stanton as much as they did in his first season with the Yankees.
Yes, so that's the plan now, to have Stanton in right field?
Well, left field, but I think you'll see they might put him in right field and DH Judge, and then maybe have him in left field, and they just plan on DHing him and trying to get everyone involved, especially if Andujar makes the roster as an outfielder.
Yeah, because I figured like left field would probably be Stanton's best position, and Tauchman can play all over, and Tauchman could even play the center field and do a good job. And you got Brett Gardner, and Andujar. I don't know, Robert. He might be traded because you don't know what's going to happen with the pitching, but. I know I see him working out in the outfield the last 3 days. He looks good catching off a machine, and with a bat like that, it's something special. But it's with the Yankees got so much offensive talent, it's hard to find spots for these guys.
Yeah, they said the one thing that can help Andujar this year is if he has a really hot bat in spring training.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'll get a lot of bats up here, and if you can catch fly balls in Florida in late February and March, you can catch him anywhere. So it'll be interesting to see how he does, and see him play a little first base, and maybe get some games at third. So I see him playing a lot of games this spring.
Yeah,
he'll probably get 70, 80 at bats.
Yeah, because, I mean, the type of year he had his rookie year, I mean, the guy could hit. I mean, I'm pulling up his stats now. Where is he? Yeah, his rookie year, he had 573 at-bats, and he only struck out 97 times. I mean, the guy, in this era where everyone's striking out 150, 200 times, Andujar had under 100 strikeouts and almost 600 at-bats, and he batted .297 with 27 homers, 92 RBIs, and 47 doubles. I mean, the guy can absolutely just rake. So, I mean, if he has an extremely hot spring training, you might want to hold on to him just in case Urshela doesn't quite have the year he did last year.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of spots open.
No.
But, the Yankees have, like I keep saying, they got so much offensive talent, and, some guys are just going to get left, they're going to get thrown in AAA, and you're not going to have too many happy players, when they could be raking in the big leagues, and, they're stuck, hitting in Scranton.
Yeah. DJ LeMahieu at second base. You got Luke Voigt at first, but you never know if they have a platoon thing with Voigt and Ford and Torres at shortstop or Shell at third. You can maneuver a bunch of players in the outfield. They say Stanton looks really good this spring, healthy, which is something I hope he remains for the entire year, because I think Stanton could be someone who has a monster year this year.
Yeah, he's done it everywhere. Even in an off season, he had 100 RBIs, 38 home runs. He's the kind of guy, he could hit 50 homers.
Yeah.
He's an elite player. He's got great talent.
His first year at the Yankees, people considered that an off year, but the 38 home runs and 100 RBIs led the Yankees. So, if that's an off year, I'll take it if it's going to lead the team in homers and RBIs.
Well, I think he might have changed his stance a little bit. So that's something to look forward to, when the games start tomorrow in spring training, to see if he's, changed his approach at the plate.
And also, I was thinking about this. Talkman, I went back and looked at his stats. This is a guy who, even in the minor leagues, hit very well. And if Brett Gardner starts off the season struggling like he did last year, I think Gardner last year batted .230 in 2 of the 3 months. If Gardner starts out struggling, you might see them mix Talkman in there a little bit more, especially if he's hitting. What do you think about something like that happening?
Yeah. Well, that, because like like we always say, Talkman can play all 3 outfield positions, and the guy's he's just not a power hitter. He can hit the ball all over, and the Yankees need a guy like that. You can't have everybody, swinging for the fences. That's why LeMahieu's so good. So they missed Talkman last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, he got hurt towards the end of the year.
Yeah, because that series against the Houston Cheaters, he could have got some, big hits, some clutch hits and stuff like that, and so they really missed him.
Yeah, and right now, even though no games have started, I worry about Judge and his shoulder if it's something that's gonna nag him throughout the season, which is something you don't want to see. And what's going to be the severity of Severino's arm, because when Severino is healthy, he's an ace. I was looking at his career numbers. Severino, he's 42 and 26 with a 3.46 ERA. He's pitched 530 innings, and opponents are only batting .230 off of him. And his strikeout to walk ratio, his strikeouts per 9 innings is 10. So when he's healthy, Severino, he's among the best in baseball. But if he's going to have a nagging injury as well, it worries me to start the season when 2 of your best players might be hurt.
Yeah, Severino's stuff is electric, and but that's the thing with pitchers. You just never know. You need them, but every pitch could be their last, and it's just up in the air. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, because with Paxton, he'll be back sometime in May, but Cole's gonna be Garrett Cole. But then you got Tanaka, who always gives you a great game followed by a mediocre game. And then you got Happ, who you never know what kind of Happ's going to show up, if he's going to give you five good innings or if he's going to be knocked out in the third. And then, you got Sessa and Loaiza and Montgomery waiting in the wings. You just wonder if the first couple months their offense can carry them through until at least Paxton gets back.
Well, the thing is, Robert, I Happ has been a good pitcher throughout most of his career, And I don't worry about him too much because he can – I think even though he might have struggled at times last year, he still won 12, 13 games, and he can usually, keep you in the game. I think, with Cole's, the top pitchers in baseball, but I think he'll make everybody else better. I mean, I was on a backfield yesterday, a couple of days ago when Cole was throwing, live batting practice. And it's the interesting thing, you had all the analytics set up, but the only pitcher there was Tanaka, and he was behind that screen, and he was watching with intent, and I think a guy like Cole, can work with Severino and work with Tanaka, and he can be like a CC, he'll just make everybody better because he's an artist at his craft, and not only on the field but off the field he can be a big addition.
Yeah, Cole even said he was looking forward to working with Tanaka and Severino, and I agree with you. I think he's going to have a huge impact on the rotation and even the pitchers in the bullpen as far as teaching them, what works and what doesn't. Yeah,
I mean, and one of the things I heard down here, Robert, a friend of mine was talking to Jack Curry, one of the Yankee, reporters, and they're going to try to get Cole and David Cohn together.
Yeah,
and that would be just like a great show because, those guys know pitching inside and out. I mean, Cole even gets intent just throwing a bullpen.
Yeah,
he throws a bad pitch in a bullpen session, and he gets upset. So he's a perfectionist, and it could be great watching him all season.
Yeah, and Dave, the Yankees' hot prospect, their number one prospect, Davy Garcia, he threw to a bunch of hitters yesterday, including Clint Frazier, Stanton, and a few others, and they said he was extremely impressive. They said the only one that got a hit off of him was Talkman, who, after looking foolish on a breaking pitch, hit an opposite field home run. But otherwise, Davy Garcia was one of the guys that was extremely impressive the other day. And even though they say he's in line or in competition for the fifth spot, he'll start the season in AAA. But the fact that everyone's so high on him and he's looking good, I'm anxious to get a look at him just to see what we got.
Well, I'm sure we'll see all these top prospects like the first week, 10 days of the season. That's what makes the beginning of the spring training interesting. You can see all the young talent the Yankees have, and they'll be given a chance, to pitch in the big game. So that'll be something to look forward to in the next week or so.
Yeah, and Clark, he never pitched higher than Double-A, right?
I don't believe so. He might have had a couple starts in AAA, but I'm not positive. But the thing is, he faced top flight competition in college.
Yeah, I'm anxious to get a look at him too. Yeah.
Yeah, because he threw he threw live batting practice the other day after Cole, so there's a good chance that we might see Schmidt on Monday night against the Pirates, after Cole. So it looks like he might be lined up to throw an inning or two on Monday.
Yeah, today Happ threw a little bit, followed by Michael King, Luis Sessa, and Tropino. But Happ's going to be pitching on the 22nd, and Loaiza will be pitching on the 23rd. Cole will be pitching on the 24th, Sessa on the 25th, and Tanaka on the 26th.
Okay, because I know they had Cole lined up. He's going to pitch Monday, and then he's going to pitch the 29th, and he's going to pitch the 5th, the 10th, the 15th, and 20th of March, and that he'll be lined up for opening day in Baltimore if they don't get snowed out.
That's cool, and I'm curious to see what kind of lineup Boom puts out this year. I know they go by analytics nowadays, but it'd be interesting to see what kind of lineup that they put out there, because Gleyber Torres, he's just gotten better and better his first 2 years, and I could really see him batting number 3 in the lineup, behind Judge.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many options you can put out there, and but I mean, Gleyber has just stepped up, and like you say, he gets better every year, and he could be a number 3, number 4 hitter in the near future. I mean, Stanton, Judge, Sanchez. I mean, there's no weak spots in the lineup. I mean, LeMahieu. It's just it's a great lineup.
Yeah, and I'm pulling up their schedule. I guess it's refreshing. I guess they start the season officially at Baltimore for 3, and 3 at Tampa.
March 26th.
Yeah, they face Baltimore, then Tampa, Toronto, and then Baltimore. So all teams in their divisions except for the Red Sox. Those teams, I mean, Tampa's a team that, could be right there too at the end. I mean, I think the Yankees win 100 games again as long as their health, is good. But Tampa, they're always there at the end. They're a tough team.
Yeah, they always have they do a great job over there. They always have a way to build a solid team, and they know how to move players at the right time and pick up talent in the minor leagues that play out for them in the big leagues. So they do a great job, and I'm sure they'll be around 95, 100 wins. And the Red Sox will probably be a little weaker, losing Mookie and David Price, and
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how Toronto does with all the young kids.
Yeah, and the Minnesota Twins, I think they'll be right there too again. I mean, right? I mean, I think they picked up a couple players. They should be as they were last year.
Yeah, they picked up some. They picked up a solid pitcher from the Dodgers. So the Twins will be right there. Rocco Baldelli's done a great job with the Twins, and for a small market team, the Twins too they have a lot of good teams over the years.
Yeah, I just hope when we get in the playoffs, knock on wood, that we just beat the brakes off the Astros.
Yeah, a lot of the players and the fans are not too happy with what's going on. I mean, the Astros got a slap on the wrist, and the commissioner and Major League, they were afraid to go after the Astros because of the contracts running out with the players in about a year or so. But I think if enough players are mad, they might go to their union and say, look, these guys should be suspended because it's hurting the integrity of the game, and the fans are pissed off. Even more importantly, their peers are upset. And
the outrage across the league has been, I think worse than what Major League Baseball, expected it to be. It's been a lot worse.
It'll be interesting to see when the season starts, like when somebody gets on first or second, the players come over and chat with each other and all this stuff. And, it'll be interesting even to see those interactions.
Yeah, because apparently Dusty Baker's already reached out to Major League Baseball to warn them that he's concerned for his players' safety. And the one thing I don't want to see is teams being warned beforehand, before a game even starts. I think that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, because, there could be some, there could be a lot of brawls this year. It'll be interesting really to see what happens. But the things I want to see, like, guys on second, and they come over and talk, or on third. It'll just be see how they interact with their peers, before batting practice and all this. There's nothing worse when you lose respect of your peers, because once you lose that, you'll never get it back.
Yeah. And Yankees play what? Toronto tomorrow?
Yeah, they play the Blue Jays at Steinbrenner. I got tickets for that. The interesting thing, Robert, it's the only game all spring when the Yankees wear their home pinstripes.
That's right. As a Yankee fan, I'm embarrassed that I didn't know that the first spring training game they wear pinstripes. I never knew. I never noticed that before. I feel so stupid not knowing that. Yeah, that was one of the rules. That was one of the rules George had. They always wore their pinstripes on opening day, and they introduced the lineups and stuff. So it's a fun day. It's a fun day. Yeah. I mean, I got to admit, Cashman's done a great job, as has Hal Steinbrenner, but it does feel different without the boss, George Steinbrenner, just being around.
Well, he definitely made headlines and made things more entertaining. I would love to hear George's comment on the Astros. I'm sure, it wouldn't be a boring. It wouldn't be a boring winter up in New York. You wouldn't have to hear about the Giants and the Knicks, and George would be on the back page every damn day.
Yeah, and the one thing I love about George is the man was one of the most generous humans to walk the face of the planet. I mean, I think that's one thing a lot of people might not know about him, but he's helped out so many people, and and no one knew about it until towards the end of his life. I mean, he's built hospitals, he's paid off people's mortgages, sent kids to school, and he even said he said his father told him, if more than two people know, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. And he was a complicated man, but a good man, too.
Well, he had his good and bad side, but one of the things down here, I'll tell you, in Tampa, Robert, he does things for his name is still with the Boys and Girls Club, and there's a Steinbrenner High School, and every Christmas they have, they have something for, misfortunate families. The Yankees put something together, and so he's done a lot for charity, and especially down here in the Tampa area, he's done a lot for them, and he's really admired down here in Tampa, Florida. He made this his hometown, and he did a lot for the community down here.
Yeah, and I was glad to see his son Hal make sure to go out and close a deal to get Garrett Cole, because it was Hal Steinbrenner that closed the deal to get Garrett Cole here, right?
Yeah, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to spend all that money unless the owner gives the approval. I just think the Yankees got tired of, finishing one game short of the World Series, 2 games short of the World Series, 5 games short of the World Series. When you give a big contract to the pitcher, it could come back and bite you at the end of it. But, I mean, if you have a chance to win, you got to jump all over it. And, I mean, the Yankees were good enough to win last year, and, you only get so many chances, and they should be good for the next 5-6 years. But now's the time to jump on it and, take the chance. See how Cole does. If they win a World Series or 2, it's well worth it.
And it makes me think that, if they're willing to spend all that money on Cole, if they need to go out this summer and get another player, I have a feeling they'll do it, because I think they're all in this year. What do you think? You think they'd be willing to make a big move this summer if they have to? Yeah, if they have to. But I think the thing is, Robert, like with the injury to Paxton, if you get Paxton back, that's almost like getting somebody at the,
before the trade deadline, before he could be able to pitch in the big leagues, or Severino. But I look, before the end of spring training, you're going to see the Yankees, maybe pull a minor deal for a player, or sometimes, like, you say at the trade deadline. If you have a chance, you got to go for it, because, the years are coming close in no cigar is, you want to win right now, because you got a good enough team to win for years.
Yeah. And one thing I'm going to be looking at the next week or so is Judge healthy enough to play in some spring training games? The status of Severino. What else? Some of the young pitchers. Those are things I want to be looking at the next week or so. What are you going to have your eye on?
Well, basically the same thing. See the young pitchers. I know Judge is not going to play tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think he hit maybe a little today, and might ramp it up a little tomorrow. So we might not see him till Monday or Wednesday of next week. But basically, I want to see the pitchers. That's what I'm interested in, seeing the young pitchers.
Yeah. And Tanaka pitches on the 26th, which is next Wednesday. Do you want to do our show on the 27th, the following day, and recap the week a little bit?
Yeah, we can do that a little later in the day, because I think I might go to the Yankee game that day, which is even better, because I'll have a lot to, we'll have a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, because Severino's supposed to visit the doctors, this Monday for 3 days?
Yeah.
So we might have, we might have a little more clarity.
Because it might be, it'll only be a couple of days, and he'll miss 4 months.
Yeah, I know. I just had this feeling. It's like Hicks. I mean, remember last spring training? Oh, it's just a couple days rest. It's just another week, and then half the season went by. And I'm just hoping that's not the case with Severino. And it's just strange that he had a couple, an MRI and a CT scan during the off season, and it was normal. And he's still feeling the same pain. I just wonder what could be the cause.
Well, I mean, it reminds me, Robert, I'm going to go back in history. In 1977, the Yankees had a shortstop prospect, Mickey Klutz. And he had a minor foot injury, and he was only supposed to miss a couple days, and he missed the whole year. And that's one of the reasons the Yankees went out and got Bucky Dent. So... yeah, there's been a history of that. He's only going to miss a few days, and they wind up missing the whole season. So we'll see.
Okay, well, this has been fun, Jack. So next Thursday night or Friday, we'll figure it out. Yep, sounds good. And hopefully, as we get farther into the season, we'll have a lot more things to talk about. But one thing about the Yankees, it's never boring. Yeah, that's for sure. All right, Jack, this is a pleasure, and to all the fans out there, we'll talk to you later, and we'll keep you informed.
The proceeding has been a comfortably zoned network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.